Hi, everybody. My name is JP Richardson. I'm one of the umpire supervisors here at IAUSO, and I'm also the head trainer that will help you along your journey of becoming an umpire. First, I'd like to welcome all the brand new umpires that are joining us for the 2025 season. And I'd like to welcome the returning veteran umpires as well. Listen, you guys and gals have made a great choice in taking part in probably what I think is the best part-time income job in the world. It's so much fun to me. Sometimes I don't even think it's a job. But listen, before we get into the bulk of our winter or preseason meeting, I want to share a website with you that's going to be very important to you. Not only are you going to follow the emails that come from Greg every Monday during the season, and they started in January, but you will want to learn to go to this website. It is the umpire website, IAUSO.com. And here it is right here. This is probably most of you have visited this website or your parents have to get you registered as a new or returning official. But I want to point out two tabs on this website. One is the training tab. So if you go here, this will have, and it's updated continuously, of future and upcoming training, whether they're classroom, online, on field, group, one-on-ones, things like that. So especially for you first, second, and maybe even third year umpires, but definitely the rookie umpires, this is a very important part of your process, is to become a better umpire and a better product. So we can get you on the field as much as we can and as much money in your pocket. The second tab on this website is definitely ballpark locations. We scheduled over 25,000 games last year through this office at over 20 something ballparks here in central Iowa. And if every umpire called us to ask where that park was, we wouldn't get much else done. So what we've done, and with the help of our IT department, is we put the ballpark locations here. So when you get assigned a game in your assigner, which will be another video, or Greg has sent out a one-sheeter about the assigner and how to get games, it'll be listed on there what the ball field is or its abbreviation. So here, if it's like Lou Clarkson Sports Complex, it'll say Lou, L-E-W. And if you want to know where that is, instead of calling or texting Greg or I, you can go to this ballpark location and see where everyone is located. That is a very, very, very important part of the puzzle. Not only learning how to accept games and have your availability up to date, but know where you're going. Okay? And if you're like some of our veteran umpires, you probably know where every ballpark is now, but it might take some getting used to. So please use that, the ballpark locations and the training tab, and also follow Greg's email every week for upcoming communications. Communication is key in making this season run smoothly from the end of March all the way through the end of October. Okay, I'm going to share our winter meeting at this time, or what we call our preseason meeting. So let me see if I can find that. And here it is. Okay, so thanks for your patience. We are now going to go through that. And oops, and I'm going to make it into the slideshow. Oops, okay. So welcome to IAUSO for all the new umpires and the veteran umpires. We're glad you're back. Like I said, it's probably the best part-time job in the world. This is really our meeting agenda from when we were live in person. Next year, if you could come live in person, that was great. And we tag team one of those meetings with an awards ceremony and it was great. So what Greg covered in the winter meetings was your agreements, your dues, and your assigner. So he has also sent out to every one of you a one-sheeter on how to deal with your assigner. If you have any questions on that, please get a hold of me or Greg, and we will help you with your assigner. Okay, the more availability you give us, the better for everybody. We have a lot of games in April already, so we'd love to have your weekends open from April on out. Okay, so I'm just going to do my part real quick, and we'll move along. So we have a big emphasis this year on training. There are going to be plenty of training opportunities. Like I showed you in that training tab and also in Greg's email, there's going to be many, many training opportunities. And the only way you're going to get better is to go to training and see as many games as possible. So before you even take the field, we'd love for you to get into some training. This will include clinics, large group, small group, classroom, indoor, outdoor trainings, one-on-ones. Online is launching. I'm going through that process right now. I've been very impressed with the home office out of Florida putting an online together for baseball for sure, and we'll get that to you. When we bring in these trainings, not only is it just me and a couple of veterans here that work with us, but we also bring in guest high school, NCAA, and MLB instructors. Some of these pictures right here are some of our trainings from last year. They were awesome. And what I can only say about training is make yourself a better product. Over the years, from youth, high school, and college, I paid for a lot of training and clinics and traveled to a lot, and I thought it was worth it. Here, we're not going to charge you a penny for training. It is free. So it's a lot of veterans, and actually the Egger family and CIS saw an investment in IAUSO that they actually help us pay for some of these trainers to come in and not charge you a dime. So take advantage of these opportunities and make yourself a better product. Opportunities will be on the IAUSO website, which I showed you, and remember, that's under the training tab, and remember to read Greg's email every week. We're looking at launching a UIC pilot program this year. Those of you that are veteran umpires that are watching this and want to know more about it, please get a hold of me. Either drop me an email, actually just drop me an email. What that'll eventually be is it's called an umpire in charge. We hope to, in the future, in the next couple of years, have that at every ballpark, both for baseball and fast pitch, and for every tournament date. So this year we're going to start it slow. It'll be, right now we have it for nationals and state for softball, but we want to do it on both sports and eventually have it for each location and complex. That veteran umpire should have high rule knowledge. That we will create an umpire area with an awning and have 3 sides on it, and possibly some fans and water in there, some chairs. That way there's a place for umpires to meet, maybe change out. That umpire, that's the UIC, will make sure that umpires are checked in and games are started on time, that they'll be able to jump on the field in emergency situations. So if an umpire is injured or running late, they can get the game started or kept going. They will assist the site director on setup and tear down of the site each day. So it's a long day, but you'll be paid appropriately for it. And just drop me your name and number if it's something you're interested in. And you can send that to jp@iauso.com or jp@centraliowasports.com. All my information will be at the end of this slideshow. So as umpires, arriving at the park starts even before game day. Okay, so you want to communicate with your partner. So in a signer, you'll see who you're working with that game day. So you want to communicate with them and talk about what your shirt size, what your shirt color and your style, which one you want to wear, who wants to take the plate first, second, or how you guys want to do that, where you're going to park in the ballpark, what you kind of drive and stuff like that. You also want to show up 30 minutes prior to your first pitch of your first scheduled game. That means you want to get there, park, find your partner, but then go check in with your site director prior to your first game before you change into your gear. A lot of times if I'm working with somebody, whoever's not working the plate, that umpire will go and check in with the site director. So let's say I'm working with Dean Kirkpatrick. And he's doing the plate first. I will let the site director know that we are here for Field 9 at Holiday Park or wherever it's going to be. So you also want to communicate with Greg Davis and your partner if you are running late. Okay, so that's why you need to know who your partner is. But if you're running late, please let your partner know and Greg Davis know, because then he will let the site director know. Okay. Also, you want to, when you arrive at the ballpark, kind of park in a remote area away from fans, players, and coaches. If you get there 30 minutes prior and there's only a couple teams there, you should be able to find a parking spot together. The plate conference. The plate conference is something we'll go over in training. It should be professional. You want to introduce yourself by your first name and get the coaches' names. If you can remember the coaches' names during the contest, that's a big help. Don't get too personal. We're not there to get Christmas cards and mailing lists together. We're there to share some information. It should last no longer than a minute. Do not linger, and let's just get the game started. So once the plate meeting is started, let the catcher and pitcher do their 8 warm-up pitches. The base umpire go out on the foul line and be ready to go. Call strikes. Let's not have 2-hour games for baseball or an hour-and-a-half games for softball. Don't be afraid to raise the right hand and call some strikes. We will go over strike mechanics and trainings. Again, I'm emphasizing trainings, but don't be afraid to call strikes. Expand that zone a little bit if you have to on the lower level and lower ages. It doesn't have to be super tight. That gets to be a boring game in youth baseball and softball, but remember this: the plate is 17 inches wide, and if it's touching the plate or just a little bit off, whack that sucker. Mound visits, keep it moving. Each team for each sport gets a certain number of mound visits. When they call time, they have to call time before a mound visit is made, but don't wait too long before walking up to the mound to break it up. So when time is called for a mound visit, I start counting to 30 once that coach starts walking from the dugout. I will, during my time of counting to 30, I'll turn around and wipe off the plate. And then about 20 or between 20 and 25, I start walking towards the mound. When you get to the mound, keep your conversations brief with the coach that wants to use a mound visit to discuss your strike zone or anything else. Give them 5 seconds if they don't acknowledge that you're there, and then give them verbal cues like, Coach, hey, we got to get going. That's 30 seconds is up. If they try to talk to you about your strike zone, just say, hey, Coach, that is something we don't discuss, especially at a mound visit. Your mound visit's 30 seconds. All right, so keep that game moving. Weather and lightning is very important to follow. Now, remember, as an umpire, it is not your situation to forfeit a game. You do not have the power to do that. You do have the power for safety to pause the game and put teams and kids in their dugouts. But here's where you want to coordinate with the on-site director when there's bad weather or lightning in the vicinity. I want to tell you this, Central Iowa Sports and most of your places, they have spent a lot of money on lightning and weather detection. So that will be out of your hands. You may even be pulled off a field before you even see the lightning based on the advanced technology they have now. But if lightning and weather does happen, you must coordinate with the on-site director. Prior to the first pitch, weather-related decisions are the responsibility of the on-site director because they are in direct contact with the state office and with the USSSA state office and with CIS office. Once the game is started, it is the responsibility of the umpire to determine if conditions are right for safe play. So if you see a lightning bolt hit straight out across center field, by all means, safety first, pause the game, pause the timer, get everybody off the field. Always, always exercise an abundance of caution if lightning is a factor, please. Have a plan with the on-site director if weather is in the forecast. So if we know bad weather is in the forecast, that on-site director already has a plan with the office. They will have a plan with you guys on the field and the field crews. Please do not leave the ballpark during rain delays before checking in with the site director. We've had a few instances where umpires have left because it's a torrential downpour, but then we don't know where they are. I'm not saying you can't leave, maybe run down to Hy-Vee and get some more drinks or get something to eat, because it looks like it's going to be a while. But check in with your site director and make sure they have your contact information because if things change, they can get a hold of you. Then again, when you get back to the ballpark, so they're not confused that you're still gone, check back in with the site director if you've had permission to leave the site due to weather delays. Rules and interpretation. First of all, we're going to have plenty of training, but it takes years to get the rules down pat, okay? So you're not going to know everything, especially the first, second, and third year umpires. Heck, I'm still learning, and I've done all the way up to college ball. If you don't know a rule, please be honest. Do the best you can, tell the truth, and never bring a rule book on the field. The only one that should bring a rule book on the field is the site director if there is a rule interpretation in question that we can't come on agreement upon as a baseball or softball officiating crew. Do not be afraid to have a conference with your partner. Hey, you might be working with a vet, or your partner might have a better interpretation of that rule and know it a little better than you. Okay, so get together with your partner with questions or uncertainties. That is 100% allowed. Don't ever let a coach tell you you can't get together with your partner on that. Of course you can. Do not get together on calls that do not pertain to your partner. So if I make a whacker call at second base and I'm the base umpire, I'm not gonna. They're gonna want to bring up the umpire up there and see what he has. What does he or she have? That is off limits. That's my call or your call, 100%. And if a two-man crew is doing what they're supposed to be doing, the plate umpire is not looking at that call anyway. When in doubt, call time, stop the clock, and get the tournament site director. When in doubt. The other thing I'd like new umpires to learn is this statement. Coach Bob, I do not know how. Let's try that again. Coach Bob, I'm a brand new umpire. I do not know how to interpret that rules at this time. If you'd like, we can pause the clock and I can get the site director, or I can call my trainer. You're being honest there. They know you're a new umpire and you're giving them an option to move forward. Okay? 9 times out of 10, that coach is going to say, no problem, let's keep moving. Okay, so any rules, just be honest, do the best you can, and learn every day. My biggest tip on this slide is to read one rule a day, whether you're doing fast pitch, baseball, or both. Run one rule a day, and eventually over the years, you'll be through the rule book many times. Support your partner. Do not run and hide or stick your head in the sand when a coach comes out on your partner. Remember, you are a team out there. There's 3 teams. There's the home team, the visiting team on the dugouts, and then there's you two. Do not let coaches or players say things when your partner is on the other side of the field. Eliminate those issues by addressing them. It is okay to say that's enough or stop. This gives the coach a chance to know where your line is drawn. Listen, it's a passionate game out there, right? And there's going to be a lot of passion in the game. But sometimes people come up to a line or they step over it, and then you can tell them, hey, that's enough or stop. Don't engage in arguments with assistant coaches. Remind them of their roles as necessary. Now, we'll go over this in training, but reminding an assistant coach of their role is not a snarky comment. I usually just ask them, hey, are you the head coach? Because I thought I met the head coach at the plate meeting. I'll be glad to discuss the situation with them. And that usually reminds them and puts them in their place in a very professional manner. But all these situations, these slides that you're seeing, we will go in depth on these on the on-field trainings and in classroom trainings. So please make some of those if you can. Make your point and walk away. Remember, not only is it good just to do that in officiating, but we're in timed situations. We're not a major league ballpark. We're not a high school game or a college game. If you're doing baseball, it's an hour and 40 time limit. If you're doing softball, most tournament games are 70-minute time limit unless you're doing the high school. So let's get the game moving for the players and the fans, okay? So let them have a rational conversation. Remember, your silence can't be misquoted. So the less you say, the better, okay? Keep your hand at your side. You know, if you have your hand up in their face, that's disrespectful. Explain your ruling or your decision and end the conversation quickly, efficiently, and professionally. You're not going to change your call, but you know, you want to be approachable. So stay calm if things start to escalate from their end. If you escalate on your end, it's going to be just a really bad shouting contest. Listen until you're insulted or cheap shot start. Listen, I'll listen all day long. Okay, even though I'm trying to end the conversation, I'll listen. But if they start getting insulting to me or cheap shots, then I'm going to stand up for yourself. And you need to stand up for yourself. I'll stand up for myself. Give the coach a chance to stay in the game and remind them of that. Listen, coach, I'm trying to keep you in the game, man, but careful because we have our limits out here and you're walking up to it. Allow your partner to be the buffer if you cannot end the conversation. A good veteran umpire crew, if that conversation is starting to lag, will come up and say, hey, we got to get the game going. Let's go, fellas. And allow your partner to do that, okay? Don't over umpire. Stay out of the dugouts between innings. Stay near the plate or the outfield. We'll go over this in training where you're supposed to go in between innings, okay? Have your water outside of the field crew gate if it's hot or at the end of the dugout or around the corner. I want you all to watch an Iowa Cubs game or an NCAA or even a high school softball game or baseball game. You will never, ever see umpires going into the dugout between innings. Even in high school, if I'm going over to get some baseballs, I don't go into the dugout. I say, hey, can I have some extra baseballs, please, in between innings? Okay? You were there to umpire, not exchange Christmas cards, not to create great friends. That's not the key. You're there to do a job. Work hard and hustle, but you can overdo it. That video you're watching right now is kind of a clown show, right? But you don't want to over hustle on a position and then have the play blow up in your face. And we go over, again, I'm going to reiterate, we go over all that in training. Do not coach players. It's not your job and can lead to issues. Even though you might have been the best catcher in your high school and the best catcher at your junior college, please do not offer advice, okay? And if you need to, go to the coach and give it to them so the coach can then give it to the player, okay? After the game, listen, some of my best training has been the meeting after the game, okay? But before we get to that, if you have parked in a remote area, that should help keep fans from approaching you. Whether you did a good job or a mediocre job or they think you're horrible, the further you're away from fans, the better it is for you to either dress and get out of there, undress and get out of there, changed out, or change into your gear to swap out with your partner. Don't patronize your partner. It won't help them in the long run. If they ask for feedback, be constructive and honest. If you're a younger and tenure official, maybe this is your first year that you worked with a vet and you received some really helpful feedback, send that vet a text the next day thanking them for their help and feedback. Be the umpire that is seen as a learner and coachable. Listen, I've worked with many, many umpires over the years, and there's many, many umpires that I would love to work with again. But there's a handful that I never want to work with again. Don't be that umpire. Be the umpire that people want to work with. And also, this is a touchy subject, but just because you're working with a veteran umpire, not all veteran umpires know what they are talking about. So make sure you use a filter to get rid of any bad information. Or if you're given information that doesn't sound right to you, call your trainer, Greg or myself, or get with a veteran umpire that you trust and run that scenario by them. Also, as an umpire, I love constructive criticism. So I want you to be willing to accept criticism from your partner if you ask for it. You may not agree, but it is good to hear other opinions. Don't just ask for somebody to tell you did a good job. Listen, if you're working with me, I'm going to give you the proverbial poop sandwich. I'm going to tell you what you did great. I'm going to tell you a couple things to work on, and then I'm going to end up on a positive, right? So I want each of you to get better. I remember when I was being evaluated at different levels of ball, I didn't care about the parts I did good on. I wanted to see what I needed to work on. I wanted to find that line in the report, okay? So after the game, I like to, if I had a great time with an umpire, sometimes we run and get something to eat or a drink or something, and we just rehash the day. A lot of times we got to get going, but we'll rehash what we did good or what we need to work on, why we're changing out and leaving the ballpark together. So here's a few last points of emphasis for the 2025 season. I accidentally wrote 2024, but this is probably good for every season. Don't talk negatively about the teams or fans while you're in the ballpark, even in the parking lot. Remember, ears and eyes are everywhere. If you have something negative to say, wait until your air conditioning's on, you're pulling out of the parking lot, and you call your partner then. Otherwise, don't talk about it, because Murphy's Law is you're going to be talking next to the team mom or dad, you're parked next to them, and you're bad-mouthing the team that just played, and they hear everything. So just don't talk about other teams or any players, coaches in the ballpark, okay? No cell phones on the field. If you're using it as a timer, I get it. But it's driving me crazy the last couple seasons of how addicted we are to our cell phones. Remember, it's a minute in between innings, okay? So you guys should be counting to 60 and should be rolling. 5 warm-up pitches if it's this returning pitcher, or a minute, whatever comes first. Well, what happens when you have a cell phone out and you're checking a text from a family member, or a girlfriend, or a boyfriend, or your wife, or your friend, or your spouse, or your significant other? They are time wasters. I lay in bed sometimes at night scrolling Facebook, and all of a sudden an hour has gone by. Well, what might feel like a minute to you on a cell phone was 3 or 4 minutes, and that cuts into the time for that these teams have played for playing time. You can check your cell phone as much as you want in between games, please do. But please keep your cell phones away or out of sight during live gameplay. Make sure your uniforms are worn correctly. I've seen such improvement in the last 3 or 4 years of uniforms being worn correctly. Make sure your shirts are tucked in, you look good, smell good, you feel good. Half the battle is wearing your uniform correctly before you even take the field. Please bring any remaining balls, whether they are new or used, from your field back to the site director before you leave for the day. Listen, I'm an advocate for getting you guys more money, okay? And one of the things that helps us get more money is we save nickels. Okay, so if we bring back those balls and give them back to the site director sends them back in the trailer. CIS then sells them, and it helps their bottom line. So every year when we go in and negotiate price and try and get you guys a raise, those little things really help. Okay. Another big thing is I want you to have fun out there. Have a lot of fun. We love it when partners start pairing up and they find people that they like to work with, and you can make those requests in the Greg and have a great summer. So if you have any questions, take a picture of this screenshot or write these down. If you have a scheduling question, you go to Greg Davis. His number is right there, 515-240-4092. You can text him or call him. Preferably text for Greg or email. Greg scheduled over 25,000 games last year out of the office, so when the season is going, he can't answer the phone as much as answer a text or an email. For training questions or rules interpretations, please call me. JP at centraliowasports.com, JP at IAUSO.com is an attached email for that as well. That is my cell, 515-322-2692. Now, if you can't get a hold of me, so you've gone to your site director, and then they can't get a hold of me, maybe I'm on a field helping something else out, then you can go to Greg on training, okay, or a rules interpretation. But Greg should be your last call for rules interpretation. On the scheduling side, you always go to Greg first, but if for some reason you can't get a hold of him, maybe he's on vacation too, then you can come to me for scheduling and I'll help you out. Now, all payroll questions, listen, if you send me or Greg a text or an email, we're going to send it right on to Denise. So skip that text and that email. So any questions on payroll, how to get your direct deposit started, any questions on payroll. If you got paid wrong, too much, too little, you didn't get paid on time, Denise is one of our accountants that used to work with the accounting company. She's come on full time with us. She's great. She's easy, and she answers your questions in a very timely fashion. Denise Koenig, Denise at centraliowasports.com, and that is her office number. That is not a text number. You'll have to call that. And she is very, very helpful for those of you that have talked to her already. So that is our preseason meeting in a nutshell. Let me stop this share and say goodbye. I want to thank you all for watching this or for attending the meetings in person. I look forward to meeting you if you're a new umpire out at the trainings or out at the ballparks. Do take advantage of all the training opportunities. We will start our one-on-ones for baseball the first week of April, and one-on-ones for the second week of April for fast pitch. So please take your time to open up your assigner for as much work as you can get, and then sign up for any trainings you can, and let's put some money in your pocket. Thanks. Let's have a great season. I look forward to meeting every one of you, and we'll see you out at the ball fields. And